So my spiritual journey has been to override my conditioning mind, to share that love with every single human being I meet in my life.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
Welcome to the Dream Big and Think Different podcast, where we inspire, impact, and empower.
Progress is impossible if you always do things the way you have always done things.
It's time to dream big. Here's your host, Dr. Sachin Maskey.
Welcome to another episode of Dream Big and Think Different podcast, where our mission is to inspire, impact, and empower millions of people's life. I'm your host, Dr. Sachin Maskey, and we have today a very, very special guest who is originally from Nepal and another dreamer, Mr. Romio Shrestha, and very unique personality. I really very fortunate and very humble and very happy to have him in our podcast. He has a very inspiring story and very, interesting journey that we all need to hear. I'm very honored and lucky to have you on our show. Romio Shrestha, how are you today?
Thank you so much, Sachin, for having me in your podcast. I do feel every encounter is a karmic reunion. So the story, think, dream big, and think different. I'm an artist, are pioneer of the human mind. They definitely think out of the box. They have a thing called artistic license, and they are usually dreamers. So it suits the subject, and I do feel fortunate spending time with you.
Thank you. I really love the word you just said, pioneer of human mind. Wow, that's something I'm just blown away that you just said something very, very powerful. And again, really appreciate your time today. I know you're in Ireland right now, and we're going to talk more, briefly about your background. But I want to introduce everyone about Romio Shrestha. His originally name is Romio Bahadur Shrestha. Was born in family, Newar family in Katmandu, Nepal. And when he was 5 years old, two Tibetan Buddhist monk come to his door and said he was the seventh reincarnation of master Tibetan Thangka painter Arniko, and they gave him stock of some material to him, and eventually they told him that he's gonna do his own school of painting. Again, Romio Shrestha is a modern master of Indo-Nepali Tibetan Buddhist tradition of enlightenment art. Romio Shrestha Thangka can be found in many great collections of the world, including the British Museum, Victoria Albert Museum, London, and American Museum of Natural History in New York, National Museum of Moscow, Chester Beatty Library of Dublin, and also in Zurich, and also in many private collections around the globe. Romio have founded a school in Nepal in 1968, and now into 21st century, he continues to bring the world of Thangka into the future. Currently, he's living in Ireland with his family, and he's often in the road spreading the words of Dharma in the world. Again, thank you very much for your time. I don't know I missed anything, but I just wanted to welcome you in the show. And my first question today for every guest I call in my show is the simple question I ask is, who is Romio Shrestha and why he is in this world?
That is a very beautiful question. Who are you? What if I was to say you are not who you think you are? You are not who you think others think you are. Beyond your individual intellectual mind, beyond your individual conceptual mind, deep inside every single one of you, there's a pure being, pure light, pure energy, existing in total potentiality. The Romio Shrestha I have projected has, of course, many faces. The true Romio Shrestha is somebody who is trying to just spread love, unconditional love. I realize I have an ocean of love inside. So my spiritual journey has been to override my conditioning mind, to share that love with every single human being I meet in my life. I do it many ways. One of them is art. My art is a mirror image of your higher self. It's not philosophy, this or that. every single one of you have this divine quality, which I try to project in Buddhist philosophy. But often when people buy my art, I tell them, visualize yourself looking in a mirror. This is a mirror image of your higher self. So my purpose in life is to awaken the divine in every single person I meet in my life. So that is who Romio Shrestha is.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, today's episode actually is a little different from other episodes. I mostly talk about entrepreneurship, help people to get financial freedom, and as I always tell, true wealth or true happiness in our life is basically, as a being a doctor myself, I consider health is not only merely absence of disease. Like I think health is your physical health, your mental health, and the last part we never talk about most of the time is spiritual health. And I think that's also very, very important, as we all know. And I'm honored again to have you in our show that we can get some words of wisdom from you and your life experience. So I want to go back to your childhood, starting how you got started thinking different, and if you can share us your childhood and what was your childhood dream, that would be good.
I was brought up by the Catholic Society of Jesus in the mountains, Himalayas, in the foothills, under Fulchoki, Chinook areas. That was my childhood. And it was very programmed. Then I came out, and politically, Nepal was not stable. So I missed college. I came to America. When I came to the beach, I said, who wants to go to college? So I was a surfer, writing home that exams coming, send me money. So I lived off for 13 months, catching the wave, where of course I learned a lot of America. And I came back, and as destined, I was to follow the art of the Himalayas. So I started school, and this was already going in the mountains. Then I put it under my studied research and reestablished. And along that way, I met Dr. Deepak Chopra, neurologist, who had taken a spiritual journey with Maharishi and spreading just that spiritual health. In fact, the body is just a byproduct of your soul, your mindset. All sickness begins in thought pattern. I actually did a series of paintings when I found so many unanswered questions in the medical world. I remember the series of paintings in Tibet. It illustrated well-being of human health.
Wow.
So I have a book called Tibetan Art of Healing. This is where I met Deepak, Dr. Andrew Will, everybody in alternative medicine. So health is biggest wealth, but beyond that, my grandfather was all about money, entrepreneur beyond entrepreneur. He was the accountant general. Before Himalaya Samsara became the first governor of Nepal, he was the accountant general. I remember very clearly Himalaya Samsara. He's very close to Himalaya Samsara. King Bahadur Shrestha, they started Artha Mantralaya. So he was all about money. And I remember going back to him saying, Grandpa, I want to make money anyhow, and lots of it. And he says, why? I said, I want to be rich. And he looked straight into my eye, says, Romeo, money is not what makes you rich. It's in your hand one day, in her hand someday. And it is the most important tool or toy the system ever created to keep people busy so they don't fight with each other. This is why it's called business.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to be rich, it's about friendship, network. In any town you go, find a successful businessman and make him your family, your friend. You'll never be on the street. And wisdom, that's going to be rich. You'll never lose those. So that's exactly what I followed his footsteps. In New York, I had ABC Carpenter Home. In Los Angeles, I had Peter Guber. In any big city, I've always had.
So in Boston, I'm here now.
Yeah. So good friends all around the world is what makes you rich.
Absolutely.
Genuine friends.
Totally agree.
So entrepreneur-wise, it's all about dreaming big and thinking different. My philosophy is think big or go home.
Sure. So again, going back to your childhood, right? I just wanted to go back again when I read that 5 years old thing, when somebody came to your house, Like, to give me that kind of what
Well,
do you
my
remember?
at that time, my father was a CDO and he had guards. So the monks were not even allowed in.
Wow.
They left. And I had to reluctantly say, this lifetime, my monastery will have no walls. And little did I know that internet or computer would exist. So here we are, zooming across the world in internet, sharing love and wisdom.
Yeah, of course, of course. So yeah, it's amazing. Our world has become so small. We can connect with everyone anytime. It's a matter of what you want to do. So I again, your story is so beautiful, and trying to figure out, like, how we can learn from what you have done and progress in our life. So again, so when you started actually painting, and your painting is so, I'm a collection of art. I'm an artist myself, but I don't do Thangka painting. But I love to. My daughter actually is very good at art. I'm amazing how she does, and I do believe she is very good. And I think all artists, as you said, is a pioneer of human mind. And I wanted to know your experience about art. When did you start, and what are you doing now?
Well, I mean, I was the first Thangka shop in Tamil, first shop in Tamil. So really, I spent almost 10, 20 years in Tamil streets.
Oh, wow.
I could say Tamil was my university. That is where I learned how to mingle with the world.
Okay.
People from all around the world came in that. It was like a mission thought. So if I had to learn French, I had a French girlfriend. If I wanted to learn German, I made a German girlfriend. Easiest way to learn languages and the way of being. So suddenly in my little head, from being a little Nepalese boy, I became like acquainted to the world and knew how the Australian thought and knew how the Americans thought and knew how the French thought, different part of the world. So today I feel comfortable with any nation and I speak a little bit of all languages.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like surviving.
So it's definitely a beautiful thing to. I mean, it's amazing. You know a lot of cultures, and a lot of languages, and definitely that's a plus in life to know all those things. And getting back to your art again, I wanted to know, when do you start painting, and what, like, can you tell our audience what is Thangka painting is? How do you, like, explain more about those part of your painting?
Thangka painting is a whole very old tradition started from the Newar Patas and then went into Tibet and got developed there. Newar also had powwas. So from that came the whole Thangka painting school. And there are illustrations or stories of enlightenment, like I did a whole body of work on the medicine of Tibet, the medical series, which consisted of 79 paintings.
Wow.
All illustrated. Tibet was illiterate. So the way they taught was through illustration. Like if somebody had fever, it would be painted with fire. And this very interesting logical sides on green therapy, chakras. It was quite amazing, detailed. That is in the collection of the Naturalistic Museum now. But there is a book out, published by Chronicle Books in London, and Thames and Hudson in London, and Chronicle Books in America.
Mm-hmm.
They could have a book called Tibetan Art of Healing, which Deepak Chopra wrote the foreword, and Andrew Will also wrote in it. And it is about healing, how our body is not just like a car. We cannot fix it just by denting and painting. So the medical world has such ability to even change parts. The cause of all sickness, the root of all sickness, has to be uprooted if you want to make a body well. And that's very often based on thoughts. If you have negative thought patterns, situations, if you hang around wrong places, you could get sick. But sickness of the body and sickness of the mind is where our suffering lies. When the mind is sick, we suffer a lot more than when the body is. Bodies, we have doctors like you who can fix it.
I totally agree. Our body is a servant of our mind. It's definitely powerful. And so you still do art. I mean, I believe you're still painting. Do you paint every day, or like how? Like, what's your current plan or current dream? I would say.
Well, art is a language. I'm constantly painting, and I did traditional art, but now I do some modern work. Just fun. I play with color, but I have so much work. My last body of work that was exhibited in Tibet House in New York
Hmm.
just before the lockdown,
Hmm.
the whole coronavirus lockdown,
Hmm.
was titled Body of Light. And that was Dalai Lama's secret temple, which is a very big body of work. The canvas was 27 feet long and 23 feet long,
Wow.
big canvases. It took me 10 years with 15 apprentices. And that was illustration of how to attain a rainbow body of light.
So that painting was done by you?
None of my paintings are done by myself one day. Rome was not built by one person or in one day. Anything big, you have to understand and grow out of your individual self and understand the connectedness of every single human being you meet in your life. The more friends and associates you have, human beings are learning now. Countries are merging. Businesses are merging. Together, you can think big. Singularly, you live in a ice castle.
You're listening to the Dream Big and Think Different podcast with Dr. Sachin Maskey. Be sure to stop by SachinMaskeyMT.com to download a free copy of Dr. Maskey's book.
I agree. I agree. So yeah, I mean, power of association. Together, you can go far. It's definitely something I strive every single day, and I totally agree with that.
Last body of work were 50 years of manpower. Now, a singular
Wow.
mind could even visualize that body of work.
Yeah. So that body of light, it's in the museum in New York. You said, correct?
No, that's in a box in Brooklyn with a friend. And I hope when I come to America, I will try and sell it to the Metropolitan Museum in New York. They are interested.
Oh wow. Okay. That would be awesome. So if you come to New York, let me know. I would definitely want to meet you in person, and we'll definitely connect. And I want to change the topic to your favorite topic today, and that's about consciousness. And I would like to hear from you what it is, and learn more from you. And
Well, about consciousness, it's just consciousness. It is beyond words or wisdom. It is beyond religion, beyond philosophy. Consciousness is about being awake, being aware. But Tilopa, great master of Tibet, had his favorite disciple called Naropa. And this is what he had to say to his favorite disciple. And he calls it the Song of Mahamudra. Mahamudra, the greatest of mudra. He says, Mahamudra is beyond all words and symbols. But for you, Naropa, earnest and loyal must this be said. The void needs no reliance. Mahamudra rests on naught. Without making an effort, but remaining loose and natural, one can break the yoke, thus gaining liberation. If one sees not when staring into space, if with the mind one then observes the mind, one destroys distinction and reaches Buddhahood. The clouds that wander through the sky have no roots, no home, nor do the distinctive thoughts floating through the mind. Once the self-mind is seen, discrimination stops. In space, shape and color form, but neither by black nor white is space tinged. From the self-mind, all things emerge. The mind, by virtues and vices, is not stained. The darkness of ages cannot shroud the glowing sun. The long kalpas of samsara mere can hide the mind's brilliant light. Though words are spoken to explain the void as such can never be expressed. Though we say the mind is a bright light, is beyond all words and symbols. Although the mind is void in essence, all things it embraces and contains. Do not with the body but relax. Shut firm the mouth and silent remain. Empty your mind and think of naught. Like a hollow bamboo, rest at ease your body, giving not or taking. Put your mind at ease. Mahamudra is like a mind that clings to naught. Thus, practicing in time, you will reach Buddhahood. The practice of mantra and paramita, instructions in the sutras and precepts, and teachings from schools and scriptures will not bring realization of the innate, for the mind, when filled with some desire, should seek a goal. It only hides the light. He who keeps tantric precepts yet discriminates, betrays the spirit of Samya, sees all activities abandoned. All desire, let thought rise and fall, as they will, like the ocean waves. He who never harms the non-abiding, nor the principle of non-distinction, upholds the tantric precepts. He who abandons craving and clings not to this or that, perceives the real meaning given in the scriptures. In Mahamudra, all one's sins are burned. In Mahamudra, one is released from the prison of this world. This is the Dharma's supreme court. Those who disbelieve it are fools, who ever wallow in misery and sorrow. To strive for liberation, one should rely on a guru. When your mind receives his blessing, emancipation is high. Alas, all things in this world are meaningless. They are but sorrow's seed. Small teaching leads to act. One should only follow teachings that are great. To transcend duality is the kingly view. To conquer distraction is a royal practice. The path of no path is the way of Buddha. He who prays that path reaches Buddhahood. Transcend is this world, like phantom and dream. Substance it has none. Renounce it and forsake your king. Cut the strings of lust and hatred. Meditate in the woods and mountains. If without effort you remain loosely in a natural state, through Mahamudra you will none tend. Cut the root of a tree and the leaves will wither. Cut the root of your mind and samsara will disappear. The light of all light dispels in a moment the darkness of long kalpas. The strong light of mind in but a flash will burn the veil of ignorance. Whoever clings to mind sees not the truth of what's beyond the mind. Whoever strives to practice dharma finds not the truth beyond practice. To know what is beyond both mind and practice, one should cut intensely through the root of mind and stare naked. One should thus break away from all distinction and remain at ease. One should not give or take, but remain natural, for Mahamudra is beyond all acceptance and rejection. Since the alive is not born, no one can obstruct or sway it. Staying on the unborn realm, all appearance will dissolve into the Dharmata. All self-will and pride will vanish into naught. The supreme understanding transcends all this and that. The supreme action embraces great resourcefulness. Without the fact, the supreme accomplishment is to realize immanence without hope. At first, a yogi feels his mind in tumbling like a waterfall. In mid-course, all like the Ganges flows on slow and gentle. In the end, it is a great vast ocean where the light of sun and mother merges in one. So that's very simple. Enlightenment is like a dreamer. Dream big. Imagine a drop of water. When it falls from the sky, it dreams of being an ocean. It takes many forms and shapes, but alas, it does arrive in the ocean. So if a drop of water can dream and be an ocean, why not? You are a human being with such talent and intelligence. You can be anything. You've reached the moon. You've done so many things. It's only when you lock yourself, your consciousness, in your singular mind, you think you are not enough. You cannot think big. So because the system, the education, the training, all teaches you to enter this rat race. So if you want to think, dream big and think different, you have to unlearn what you learned, untrain your mind, and realize that you are a unique being. You have a unique quality. You're here to give something. Most human being approaches this life like, what is it in for me? What is my percentage? What do I get out of this meeting? But if you really find your true self and realize your true self and approach life in more, what can I bring on the table? What can I give? It's as simple as that consciousness. Consciousness is about being free of your individual intellectual mind, free of your individual conceptual mind, and going into that silence, which Buddha described as sunyata. No more thoughts. And in that state, you will realize you have this ocean of love to share with the world. There, deep inside every single one of you, you will realize there is a pure being, pure light, pure energy existing in total potential. And that is erasing all doubts. Realizing how fortunate you are to have a human body. Because according to Vedic tradition, to have a human body, you have to be conscious. So every single one of you are conscious being. Every single one of you are enlightened being. Just a little lost in the Maya world of illusion.
Wow. I'm just listening and writing and learning. I mean, your words are so beautiful, so powerful. I hope all my listeners will definitely get some enlightened, words of wisdom. Yeah, let's talk about enlightenment. And you heard this word since a long time. And do you believe? My question is, like, when I was kid, and I was born in Dharan, and raised there. And when I was small, like around 10, 11 years old, I always think, what happens after we die? And then thoughts like, the soul, the concept of soul, Atma. I wanted to ask you, because we're talking this consciousness, do you believe on soul? And if yes, how do you like explain, or like somebody, what is soul?
Soul is beyond identity, like a drop of water. It takes many name and form, like Ganges, Nile. But when it arrives at the ocean, it loses its name. The sacred Ganges is called Ganges no more. The powerful Nile is called Nile no more. So that is soul. Soul is just light. It merges. We are all souls, light, like a spark of light. This is where the last body of that illustration was all about. Body of light. When you take your consciousness beyond thought pattern, beyond thinking, then you will have that little glimpse of that soul. That's what meditation and spiritual journey is all about. Realizing that you have a soul. And in the West, they have even used a lot of drugs like LSD to realize they have a soul. So when your human mind is quietened, you will realize your soul. Most human beings are too busy in their intellect, their conceptual mind, to realize that they have a soul. But it doesn't mean that they don't have one. They do.
Yeah, that's amazing. So soul. I mean, I'm reading Gita right now, and what I've learned, from the words from Krishna about soul, like soul is like energy. It's never been created and it cannot be destroyed, and our body is just like a cloth, and our soul gets changed clothes every certain often. So I also think about afterlife, like after we die, what's going to happen, so do we have another life, that's those kind of thing I always try. It's amazing, as our life is so
But
mysterious.
that's what reincarnation is. If you have unfinished business, you get reborn again and again. But you're like a light, like a star traveling through the universe. And sometimes you get tired and you find yourself in God's workshop. And He gives you this physical body and puts you in there. So as long as you have your body, you will have to live your karmic life of whatever body you possess. But once you leave the body, then you're again free from this worldly entanglement.
Mm-hmm.
So soul is just pure, no stain, no sin, nothing. That's what, in Mahabhuta was saying, it's beyond sins, beyond stain. The mind cannot be stained because it's not like paper.
Yeah, amazing. So wow, so we already towards the end of our show, but I would love to probably have another part of the episodes down in the road, and maybe we can do a live or something, that would be much better. To me, the energy when you meet somebody in person, is totally different when you do something like this. It's still good, but when you meet in person, is different vibes. I don't know. You feel the same way.
Oh, yes. We communicate with each other. 80% of our communication happens with vibration. 20% happens with words. And that is also individually, depending on the family you're born into, religion you follow, culture you come from. You have a certain concept of the world. But there is, beyond that individual concept, there's a lot more. We communicate. And that can be lies or made up or just a concept. But we vibrate a certain frequency. And that is how we communicate. So when we meet, then we have definitely more communication than just with words.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to meet you in person for sure. And please let me know when you're coming. So question about Nepal. I see you go back to Nepal. How do you go? You still have family back in Nepal, or what
Oh
you
yeah, I
doing?
have my brother, sister, and I have a home in Jamsikal. I mean, I would love to do something there, leave something behind with art I'm working on. Like all the great masters have something in their country. I have a 2 Rupee square plot where I want to maybe build a art center of. I have a 13-foot tall Buddha, all stone statues, carving. There's something beautiful behind. And, I go back because Nepal is where every rock, every tree in Katmandu knows me. I have friends from childhood, school, family. But, at the same time, I mean, my home here is very much like Nepal. My philosophy is, जहाँ नेपालीले देख्छ त्यहीँ नेपाल भन्छ. So if you, call me once in Skype or something, I can show you around. My house is full of Nepal carpets and statues, and everything I have is from Nepal. So I get very tired of when all these organizations like UN, UNICEF, WHO is selling poverty of Nepal.
Mhm.
And म चाहिँ नि नेपालको गरिबी होइन, गौरवता बेच्छु. I sell how great Nepal is and what Nepal has to offer. Because, Nepalese are very special, different. They live in the highest part of the world and they think different too, except the mind. They feel different. Let's keep it this way. The family, the friends, the way we feel for each other is very different from you might have noticed in America or here in Europe. Europeans think different, Americans think different, Nepalese think different, French think different, Australians think different. So, that's maybe what Nepal has to offer. And really, art-wise, and our culture is very, very ancient,
Absolutely.
So we have a lot to offer, I think.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So before, towards the end of the show, we are now, and I would like to ask you where people can find you, and if is one thing you wanted to. We talk a lot of things today, but if is one thing you want to share, what you would like to share, your words of wisdom.
Well, I say if God knows everything, you must be Google. So you can Google me. I'm everywhere in media somewhere. My email is Shrestha Romeo, spelled with an I, at iCloud.com, which don't be angry if I don't answer because I'm very not savvy. I do a lot of Facebook and Instagram, but I don't use too much media. But if you look in your art, you'll find me there.
Yeah, sure. What is the one thing you want to share today before you leave?
One thing I would like to share to all the Nepalese and non-Nepalese, it is time we realize that we are on this planet, this globe together. We have to think globally because we have a lot of global issues like climate change and viruses. And dream big, think different, Don't be scared, think different means find that unique quality you have. Every single one of you have a unique quality. And that is what you want to share with the world. And don't be limited to your individual world, but think also for the well-being of all human race. Like I sign every painting I paint. I sign as Om Ha Om. Om, the crown chakra, how you think. Ha, your throat chakra, what you speak. And Om, your heart chakra, how you feel. These 3 upper chakras creates your universe. So when you Don't think only well-being of your individual self, but the whole universe. Speak not only well-being of your individual self, but the whole world. And feel well-being not only of your individual self, but the whole world. Then the whole world will be you. You will suddenly realize your individual body has grown to a universal body, that you are not just a single human being, but you are a universe.
Wow. That's very beautiful. And I really wanted to continue this conversation. But again, because of the time, and I really appreciate your presence today. For me personally, I have learned so much today, and I wanted to meet you in person. Thank you very much for your time, Romeo ji, and I appreciate everything you have said. And to all the listener, if you're listening, if you're watching this video, please, I would appreciate to like it or share with your family and friends. And I'll see you next time. Thank you, and namaste, everyone.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Dream Big and Think Different. We hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to subscribe to our show so you don't miss any gold nuggets. We would appreciate it if you could rate and leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, and other platforms. And be sure to stop by SachinMaskeyMD.com to download a free copy of Sachin's book. Until next time.